How you feeling, brother?
Doing good, guys. How's it going?
Good, good.
Hey, Gio, you're
Um,
prepping for a show or no?
No, man. I retired from competing, man. I just maintain. I try to look good for my clients and obviously feel good and look good for the expo.
Yeah, man, you look lean, man. You're
Thank
looking
you.
very lean, bro.
I'm glad to stay in
I
shape.
yeah, man. I have to. I always focus on the food, number one, above everything else. I may slack on the training. I used to work out 6 days a week for 20 years, 25 years. Now I maybe work 3 times a week. Maybe sometimes I get two in, but the nutrition, the food is always number one. Like I always care about the food, making sure no bad food, cook my own meals, and weigh everything out. Still, as if I'm competing, but I just like to know what I'm eating.
Yeah, you can't shy away from that discipline.
No.
You're really our first promoter slash men's physique pro or pro athlete, the combo that we have on the show. Can you share your journey from amateur to pro to promoter?
Yes, man, it's been a great journey with the NPC. The National Physique Committee has given me a lot of opportunities. I did my first show at 17 years old. As a teenager,
Wow.
I started competing as a bodybuilder, and that's when my career began. I did. It used to be called the Miami Classic back down in downtown years ago, and then I would do the Southern States as a teenager, and then I also did the Collegiate Nationals in 2009. So I've been competing for 20 years, and the NPC has been the door that has helped me get clients, has helped me advance in the industry, learning about nutrition. I actually went to school for business administration, and then I changed to dietetics nutrition by my last 2 years of college. It's because that's what I cared about. And I was working at a store back then. It was called Max Moso, and I started as an employee, and then a manager, and then regional manager, and then I got really big into acting and modeling, and also I wanted. I then they told me I was too big because back then, 2007, 2008, 2009, there was no men's physique. There was only bodybuilding. It was one category for men's. That was it. So I did bodybuilding until 2009. The collegiate nationals, I got fourth in the next collegiate nationals, and it was a great experience. I learned a lot.
I got a little I got a little video for you here.
Oh, look at that! Yes.
Oh
Oh
man, that's
man,
awesome.
21
throwback. Yeah,
tw
man, that was one of my best physiques. I was on prep for 10 months. It was
10
21?
months.
10 months. 21 years old on prep. So imagine 21. Everybody's
Yeah.
going out partying, and I'm eating my 6 meals and getting up at 6 a.m. and eating like a crazy animal. Yeah, I gained 20 pounds of muscle in 2 years of that. But those 20 months was very. Those 10 months was very focused because it was 5 months of grueling eating, overeating, and then 5 months of cardio and also eating. So the combination of both. But
At this show, they gave out pro cards. Was it first and second,
no,
or was it
back then,
overall?
that collegiate, they didn't get pro cards yet. You still had to
Okay.
go up the ranks. So you had to be in college back then. We still the same rule applies, but there's no pro card at that level. You still have to go into the open or in the masters. There's a lot of guys that in the 45, 50, and then they turn pro. So, but yeah, bodybuilding, that was my thing. I love bodybuilding. That was where it all started. It came from football. Football was my thing, and then bodybuilding came after. And then moving forward, I decided to quit the whole modeling career industry because men's physique came about, and it said, "Gio, you should try this." So I went on stage, and actually back then I had the look that they have now, but I was 13 years ahead. I even talked to the president, Tyler Manning. He told me you were just a decade before the time because back then it was like a modeling fashion show. I won the first show here in Florida in Miami. I was the overall champion, and it set the standard in 2011. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep going. And back then, the main judge down here was Sandy Winston, which is also the one that judges the USA's and all the big shows that turn you pro.
Uh-huh.
And she told me, you go to the next level. So I went to USA's that first year and I got fifth. I was like, all right, I can do this. So, but it was really tough. It was really, back then, it was only three ABC, three height classes. And it was like 70 in each class. It was really hard back then. But they expanded the league. I turned pro at 25. And for the next 2 years, I was really focused on becoming an Olympian. I said, you know what? I'm going to focus on going to Mr. Olympia. This has been my goal from the beginning. And 2016, I qualified. I made it to the Olympia, and that is something that I would take forever with me, being an Olympian. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to go back to it again because, yes, I retired from the open category. I'm 37, but when I'm 40, 3 years down the road, I may hop on stage again in the Masters Olympia. So,
Masters,
Like
yeah. That's awesome.
pull an Andre Ferguson, right? Because he
yeah,
started.
hey, I mean, he's been going at it the same as me. Actually, I started a little bit before him, but they're still going at it. I went a different route. I went into the promoters realm after I made it to the Olympia. I was like, okay, let me focus on expanding the show. The first 2 years, it was just called the Miami Muscle Beach, and then on the third year, we expanded into the Miami International Fitness Expo, which is what it is today. We had to more companies, sponsors want to have more variety and more, and we wanted to have a bigger fitness community. So we wanted to draw different genres in the fitness world, not just
More
bodybuilding,
exposure.
more exposure. And in that way, we got CrossFit involved, we got calisthenics, we got ninja, we got powerlifting. So it's been a great journey. This is our 11th year with the Miami International Fitness Expo, and now it's the official Miami Pro. It was always called the IFB Miami Muscle Beach Pro Am, but now the pro part is the IFB Miami Pro, but the NPC portion is still called the NPC Miami Muscle Beach. So that we have the two names are still associated because the people have it in their memory. So for so many years, a lot of people called it the Miami Pro, and we wanted to just go ahead and just say let's fix it, and we changed it this year. We branded everything. We changed our logo. We changed our medals. Everything. The stage is going to be bigger. There's a new venue. We have to move to a bigger venue because there's more sports being added as well. And
It work. It works though, because you have the New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, so it's kind of it keeps it maybe a little bit
that
more
was
consistent with the name, the terminology. Yeah,
yeah.
unification.
I actually talked to the higher ups in the league, and I shot out the idea to them, and they were really excited because it's exactly what they said. The season picks up in May, so people will go to the Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, Miami Pro. That's what it all came down to. So. But yeah,
And
um,
was the official name change for Miami Pro last year? Was that the first time?
no,
No.
no. This is the first year. This
Oh,
is the
this the
official.
oh okay. So they were calling it Miami Pro way before it even was
For about
legit.
five,
Yeah.
6 years, but that's because people that didn't know.
Yeah.
They would just hashtag Miami Pro because it was just people that didn't know they didn't want to say the full name or they didn't know the full name. So we just made it easier.
It sounds a lot cleaner.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
when you went into promoting, well, one, was that always kind of the plan for you as you started competing, or and then two, what was your first step into getting into promoting? Did you work other shows just to learn how they were run, or did you just dive into it through relationships?
Combination, more of the fact that I contributed a lot to the league. When I will come to the show, when I would compete, I will buy about 50, 60 tickets. So I will have a whole crowd of people when I would go on stage. And that in itself, doing that 3, 4 years, it showed the league that I could, market it and get people to come. And once I turned pro, I didn't waste any time. 2 years in, I went straight to the president and asked them if I could do a show in Miami, and they approved me. You can't do that anymore. Yeah, that is it's a very close window now. I can't even have a second show. I've already tried for a second show. I can't even have one. So um, uh, I took a risk, and it's something that doesn't work that way anymore. I knew the who now is the vice president. He was very young back then. We got along. I would say what's up to him. Tyler was always cool, and to this day we have a very good relationship together. We could discuss about anything, and we always want the league, and we want to have opportunity for the league to give everybody else a chance to be on stage. So that's why we keep adding these categories. I even mentioned to him doing a men's aesthetics category. So
Like
it's like
like a
so
fit model, but
Yeah.
for men's.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we
exactly.
we talk about that a couple times on the show. It's like physique is getting so big now that
Yes,
where is the beginner?
yeah,
Because Gio,
exactly.
you have guys winning classic and MP at shows around the country, right? Literally same show, different shorts. And it's like, can you imagine if a figure woman also won bikini? at the same
Yeah,
show.
that doesn't make sense. That wouldn't work. Yeah, that wouldn't fit the criteria. It's complete. But you know what it is? It's you can have a criteria of what the rules are, but it all comes down to the day of the show. Well, you may have 10 guys, you may have 4 guys, and that's all you get. So they got to pick a winner. They have to pick from what shows up. So that's what
Yeah.
people don't understand. At the end of the day, the judges have to pick from what they have, and sometimes it's very close, and it might just be you smiled better, or you have better excitement and better stage presence that made a difference. And that's something that people don't realize that it's part of competing. Yeah, your hard work, your sacrifice, your dedication, but what you do on stage and the preparations that you do prior to that to get your mind very happy and joyful for being on stage, that's what really makes competing joyful, in my opinion.
Yeah,
The
it's an
confidence.
art. It's an art at the end of the day. Well, from promoter, what's next? You're gonna be a judge? You're gonna
No, no. See, I keep getting asked about it. I've never wanted to be a judge. I always say God is the one of the judges, but I've never wanted to be a judge. I feel like a lot of times I've gone to a judge and that critique that I've gotten, I'm not going to mention any names because it's not important, but the critique that I've gotten is just unrealistic. You know, some of the things just because they have to say something, just because you didn't win or get third or second, you got fifth, they have to give you a reason, even though it's so close. They could just say, "Oh, you need more condition," and it's not true. It's just
It's also all relative, right? Because there
correct.
could be a
Yeah,
guy that is just inside out
subjective.
peeled, and you're coming in inside out peeled too, and he's just slightly more peeled with maybe a little bit more fullness, and it's the combination of the different variables that actually goes into the winning. Yeah.
That and also, is this person's first time competing? Did they compete 2 weeks ago? Have they done 3 shows this past year? Have they been seen by the judges? Because sometimes, which I did, which is called strategic competing, which you focus on where the judges are going to go so you can know what shows to compete at so they can see your improvements after they give you the critique. Because if now you go to one judge and you go to another judge, and you have no idea and have two different perspectives of what the first place should be, and then you're stuck in the middle, and then you don't end up doing either one. So what I did is I followed the similar judging panel for a season in 2008, 17, and 18. And unfortunately, when I won, back then it was called the Orlando Europa in 2019. You have to qualify. You have to win two times to go to the Olympia. So they made it a lot tougher. But what I learned is that year in 2017, 18 was to follow the same type of look that you keep going, not to switch from one look to another extreme one, just because one judge told you something and then the other one told you something else. You have to also understand your own body and then how your body responds individually. And only you're going to experience that yourself to trial
That
and error.
that's really important actually, because I've seen a lot of friends, or they'll come back and they'll say this judge tells me this. They go to another show and they worked on what that judge told them, and then that judge tells them something different, and you're constantly chasing this elusive feedback, and instead of just
it's a merry-go-round.
and
Yeah.
the longer in your sport, the more you learn your body, especially if you're paying attention too. So as long as you have the data to back it, take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly, and do it also. I would say competing. Don't get don't let your joy come from the judge's decision. Let your joy come from your effort and your work and your dedication, knowing that you did all that you could have done. If you know your posing was on point, if you know your back post was on point, if you know your transitions are on point, and a judge just doesn't like you, and there's somebody else that day that happens to be a little bit bigger, you can't change that. You can't change the outcome that day. But so you have to learn how to find joy in your journey, in your own experience, because like I said, you might not win a show, but it doesn't mean you didn't do everything you could have possible, and you did it as best as you can at that moment. So taking and capitalizing and what you can in that short period of time, knowing that you did the best you can, that's how you're gonna find the happiness in competing.
And
As
that
I've done 58 shows,
yeah.
and when I say that, people are like, "Whoa, yeah." Well, I've learned a lot. There's some shows I should have not done. 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, I knew I wasn't ready, and I just did it because I said I'm gonna do it. You can't do that either. You gotta really show your best, because those judges will get a bad representation of you, and it might take you a year. You might never get back on the A list again. You might be blacklisted forever just because they saw you so bad off that one show.
But that's still a good mindset to have. What you said about taking it, one step at a time. Everyone's journey is different, and it should be you versus you always. That should be the mentality. A lot of us want to get to the Olympia overnight, but they don't see how long it takes or the true process behind it. Because not everyone's gonna be a two-show pro, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it took me eight national attempts. So seven. I got knocked down 7 times, got up eight. So uh,
That's dope.
That
it really
That's
did happen that way
that's what
for me.
that's what that
Yeah.
says right there in
It did
Kanji.
it.
Oh,
Some
yeah,
people
I
do
love that quote.
Yeah.
people do two national, and okay, that's it. I'm done. It's all politics. Nah, if you really want it, you really focus on it.
You
Well,
only fail when you give up.
That's it.
delayed
That's it.
gratification. We spoke about this in the last episode. Like that is literally bodybuilding to a T. Delayed gratification. And if you can't get on board with that, then why are you doing this sport? I remember I had a friend who she kept competing, and every time she wouldn't get her pro card, it's like the end of the world. And then they get frustrated, they do more shows, their body starts to deteriorate. So I have seen on social in general more athletes being open about taking health a little more seriously, taking off seasons and not just blasting gear constantly. What is, I'm sure doing the 50 plus shows, you've experienced it all, but what was your mindset and how has it changed through your career? I'm sure there's a lot of maturing for you as well, but in terms of staying healthy, the longevity piece, you obviously figured something out.
Yeah, and which is another reason why I decided to quote unquote hang up the shorts. To compete at this level today, the criteria for the men's physique, it's about 25 pounds bigger than when the category came out. I turned pro at 180, and now for me to be competitive, my weight cap is 209, I believe it is. So
what are you weighing now?
188.
Yeah.
So just maintain between 187, 190. Just some hormonal TFT, get my blood work done, make sure everything's working good. And that's another reason why I stopped competing too. Is just unfortunately there's a long term effect if you're not careful. In my beginning years, my first few years, I didn't do enough research. There was no online chat GPT or none of that stuff back then. So back in 2005, 2006, man, it was just blogs or whatever you could find. And sometimes it was too late. I didn't know about PCT. I didn't know about doing the right dosage and things like that. So I hurt myself at the beginning of my career quite a bit. But, that's why I did a lot of years competing without gear, and nobody knows about that. So as a pro.
Well,
So,
talk about that. That's very
yeah.
interesting, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
2014, 2015, it was years that I decided I want to be as focused on my nutrition and my training as possible. And it was true. It's less is better. Less is better. When I started just doing really low dosages, very minor things, my body was responding better. I was sleeping better. There was no big spikes and downfalls. So my body didn't have any type of depression. I didn't have any sadness. I didn't have any mood swings.
Anxiety. Yeah.
No anxiety. No night sweat. Better sleep. All that came together. Learning to taper down properly, and then understand that if you just your body's gonna have to respond some way. If you're giving it something so much, and then all of a sudden you stop it, then their body's gonna freak out, and that's where the side effects come into play.
You
So,
fry your receptors by doing too much, and this is something that I'm learning because I'm doing the J3U course.
okay.
So
Okay.
everything in, like you said it best, less is more.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it takes your body a little bit to receive the receptors to receive all that you're pushing. So
Yeah.
it's
And
crazy how fast you could burn out your receptors like that, and then that's when you see the negative side effects, the gyno, all that stuff.
yeah,
So
I had to do the surgery. I had to get the surgery, the guidance taken out. I did it. And I lost a lot of hair through my years because of the DHT conversion, which happens as well. And those are the most normal side effects. I know a lot of people that are overused and they don't even compete. So I that blows my mind too. I,
Yeah, when I hear that, I'm like mind blown as
why?
well.
Bad food and alcohol that gets blended in, and it says, "Oh yeah, I just want to do 3 plates." You know,
That,
Yeah,
people ask me how much do you bench. I don't. How much do you max? I don't know.
I don't bench. It's like
I don't even
bare
use the
flat
bar.
bench. Yeah,
it is ironic that generally speaking, a lot of the athletes, the more serious you are, typically the less you're taking, and it's usually the guys that are not taking it as seriously, they're taking more.
Well, they're blasting
What
way more.
if not competing? I've done 3 shows and I still am natural. I haven't taken anything because
Good,
I want to learn the training inside and out and know
good.
the posing, learn the posing really inside and out. The stage presence, all the things that you can control. And now, it's kind of good timing. I just spoke about this with G. I got my blood work back. I took HCG and HCG and clomiphene citrate. My
Good.
test went up by
That's it.
700 points.
Yeah,
And
hell
it's
yeah.
like, why? So it's like, again, helping your natural test and doing things the right way instead of just jumping to everything. And look, I just turned 35, so I'm probably going to have to take TRT at some point,
Mhm.
but why? Like, I just don't understand why people want to risk their health like that. I mean, I could understand, but there's other options to get the same result.
They are. And a lot of people want to think that it's shorter because they see other people, oh, they're doing this. That means if I'm doing that, but they don't realize that other person's probably been working out for 10 years.
Yeah.
You've only been
right.
starting your prep for 3 months. So it's a huge difference.
Well, Alex Toplin, who won your show, I think it was 3 years ago for his first ever Olympian qualification. I was actually there. I think it was 2022 or 2023. And he's been the most outspoken about taking a health phase seriously. He showed side by sides of his placements and just his back just disappeared, just from trying to chase the prep, chase the shows. And now, he's still not even sure and he's gonna come back this year. And I guarantee you in the future it's gonna pay off. And so I'm glad he's talking about it because people are watching him.
And that's another thing I learned that I did, I could say now because I've been doing this for a while. But the first few years, I would do 6, 7 shows a year, and that is not wise at all. That means I was on prep the whole year. So I would switch different gears throughout the year just so that things could work. So that is not a way to do it, and
How,
I say from experience.
how do you feel about the
Uh,
flip side though? The guys that are the people that just say, I'm gonna wait till everything is perfect to get on stage, and then it takes them 3 years to get any kind of data.
That's a little too. That's a little too extremes, right?
Yeah.
So learning your own individual balance, what's going to work for you. I would say an individual picks a season and say, okay, in this 3 months, I'm going to do, these. In the next 4 months, by the time you get 18 weeks, 20 weeks, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be peeled. Then I'm going to pick 2 shows or 3 shows that are going to be within 1 to 2 weeks apart. And then within those 6 weeks, you should finish off your prep and then take time off to clean
yeah.
yourself up and everything else. Another 3 months, 4 months off before you go at it
So
again.
for
I
for
would say every
yeah.
twice a year, maybe if you want to do 6 months, 7 months, and then compete, something like that. That's wise. And then you could run it for a whole month of competing.
That's smart.
And let your body rest, reset. Your mind needs to reset too. Because I made a mistake that I learned through the years. My last 2 years I would not compete until after my competition, after the one that I promote. So imagine I would go and do Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, all in May, and then my show was right there in June. So my brain was just all over the place.
Mental
You're fried.
stress. Yeah.
Oh, I
You
wouldn't
you
sleep.
could
I would
burn
be
out. Yeah,
traveling.
you burn
My
out.
food, clients, waking up, not sleeping. It was so much, and it was too much. So then, and that's also because I cut back from coaching clients as well. I did
Yeah.
it. 2016 is when I tried. I thought I was Superman. You get burnt out. I was training clients. I was coaching clients, which is different. And then there was the expo, and then me also competing. So and traveling around the
Yeah.
world competing. So
How
it's a
has
lot.
your
Yeah.
mindset changed? Like being a man of faith, because I know we talked about God, being a man of faith, how has that helped, with that mindset and try to, because you didn't really have a balance. You're just like throwing everything on. How,
It was all in. It was all in. It was all in.
how did you manage it and what would you do differently this like if you could go back and change it
Can't say I would change anything because then I wouldn't be
where you're at?
understanding or believing where I am today. But I just finished watching a Netflix documentary that is fairly new of Moses and his life, and no matter what he did, it's just give an example for the other people. So if I could leave a legacy that Miami can still continue to bodybuild and people could still get on stage, I don't need to be under the lights. I could let other people be under the lights and having a platform. So that's my main thing. As far as uh, what would I what would I don't say I would change anything. I would keep everything the same, but I would learn because what happened to me is I had to go through a um, physical halt. Everybody went through the mental halt and COVID in 2020, but I actually went through a physical halt. I had 4 shoulder surgeries. I fell on my elbow New Year's Eve going into 2020, dislocated my AC joint. And I had 1 surgery done in January, didn't come out good. Another one in May, didn't come out good. Another one in June, that one was finally fixed. And then my right shoulder from the whole year of using my left, not using my left, everything was hanging on my right side. I had to do my right side and got that fixed. So 2020 was the year that forced me to mentally slow down. And that was the break that God said, okay,
That I felt like, yeah, that sounds like God just like, hey, Gio, slow down.
yep,
You're
calm
gonna
down,
crash. Yeah.
relax, okay? And coincidentally, well, I was 33. It was the same year, and that's the year that I decided to get baptized too. And it was an incredible year.
The Jesus
Unfortunately,
here, yeah.
yeah, it was a strong year. I went through a lot, and also went through personal things. I went through a divorce. Everything was okay. No bad feelings, but it was a growing phase,
Experience. Yeah.
and I I would say to anybody, compete because you want to see the changes in your body. It's like a project or exposition that there's a date and then you get to unveil it and you get to
Hmm.
show everybody else all your hard work. Back in the
Canvas.
day when I first started, people wouldn't post their progress. There was no such thing. You
Yeah.
wouldn't post anything. Like you wouldn't see
Well,
anything. You just show.
social media
That's
wasn't
the
as big,
beauty of social
you know?
media, right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times people look amazing 3 hours before the show. They show a video and they show on stage and whoa, what happened? You got stressed, your cortisol went up, you got psyched out, you missed the meal, or something happened, and that's it. You don't look the same. So it's just, um, going back to the transition of competing to not competing and to understanding the balance. Once I decided, okay, 2018, no more coaching clients. I'm only gonna be competing and training my clients in the expo. Then 2019, I said, okay, no more competing before my event because it was too much. 2023 came back, had a great year of learning, getting back into it, but my body was already. I didn't want to go through the same type of enhancements that I had to do when I was in 2019, because that I needed to do to go back in the new phase of men's physique. So I'm glad to have this new natural divisions coming up, but the category of men's physique is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere either way.
No.
That is it's a huge jump from there to bodybuilding and classic. We still need that men's physique division, and I'm gonna stick by and support it. And to me, posing and teaching posing, I'm always gonna help teaching posing. That's my main thing. I've always loved the posing aspect, the transitions, and making sure that your body. I learned this from Jane, who's the official photographer of the NPC. He always says, "Wait 2 seconds on every pose." So imagine that you get in a click every time. So you do your post, So don't before
Yeah.
every transition
Don't
because you don't want
transition
those
too
bad
quick.
pictures. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want those pictures to go online. And, oh, look how you look with your stomach sticking out. No, I was turning. No, you should always be aware.
Gio,
But sometimes those shows are like with the judges is kind of like rush. Like I remember, man, you just go on stage, it's like, hey, next. It's like,
Yes,
dang.
they do that too. They could do that too. They're rushing, especially finals. At finals, they rush the show because they already know who won.
Yeah.
I,
That makes sense. That's good insight. That's good
I mean,
insight.
I personally, I love men's physique inside and out. I love the posing. I love the look. What I don't
And the
understand is,
shorter shorts now too. So.
yeah, and I actually
Yeah.
I like the shorter shorts. I don't think I would never be a fan of going to the kind of the old school classic spandex ones, you know, that were a little longer than the Speedos, but at the same time, like you gotta look like you're at the beach a little bit, right?
Right.
What I don't understand about posing is we live in an age where there's free content everywhere. And you see people go to a show and it looks like they didn't even look up a show on YouTube
How
or
to
anything.
pose or what
And,
to do.
like look, it will take a while to get used to posing, but it's just surprising that people don't take advantage of that more just because there is so much information out there.
That's true. There's way more free information too.
Oh,
compared.
it's absolutely free. Yeah. But so just going back to promoting for a second, what has been the most tedious part of it? It's everything. I come from the sports and entertainment space. I've worked events before, so I know it's a lot of sleepless nights, but specifically to bodybuilding, how are you delegating projects or how are you getting things done on a daily basis? And then how are you preparing before the show, before it even happens?
Well, there's a lot of preparation that starts immediately the same day after show. As of already, we already have it penciled in for 2026. It's gonna be May 23rd. So we already are scheduling for 2026. That's how far in advance we have to be prepared already. Because when the day show comes, I already have to say, oh yeah, next year's happening this day. That was a very stressful part that happened this year because we had to move to a bigger venue, which not a bad thing, but in Miami, there's not many places that could accommodate that. The next big place would be the Miami Beach Convention Center, and we don't want to go there.
No.
The
Yeah,
parking and everything that happens
too
there
hectic.
is too much.
Yeah.
Maybe we get it big as like the Arnold, and it's like a whole 4 or 5 day thing. Then we'll go there. But we had to move to a bigger venue, and this year when the show ended, I was like, I don't know where we're going next year. I haven't. It was very rough getting off. That was another part I was talking about having a mental break. I got off what I call off stage from my stage from doing my production, and then I went straight into prep into the Tampa Pro, and I didn't have a mental break there. So another thing that I would go back to the question I asked earlier as well. What I changed differently was learn how to have a mental break between projects because it's important. Not just a weekend, but like a literal a month or 2 months of just letting your mind wander into something else before you go into the next phase. Because your cells need time to recuperate as well. We just don't realize it. So, but the hardest part has been logistically having to find a venue and a location that could accommodate the space and also evolve it into an expo and having all the sports.
All the
This
sports,
year,
yeah.
this year we have 10 sports. We even have a run. It's called Nameless Running. They're running around the FIU campus. Like we're
That's
expanding.
crazy.
Yeah. So and we're already in discussion in that same area to adding a whole part of it's not jujitsu because that's what we have. This is taekwondo. With
Oh, martial arts.
another art,
Okay.
yeah, another martial art. Whether they need a whole hall, so that's another area that we're really trying to expand for next year. But the tedious part of promoting, like I said, has been the logistics as far as setting everything together. And then I have a great, amazing team. My business partner Tony and his wife Jackie, they run the Fit Life Productions page. All the advertisement, all the ads, everything you see, we have a whole team, Executive Digital, that they're the owners of that marketing company, and they make our show really, really known in public. That's something that we've learned through the years, and marketing, especially social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, it's huge. It's
I
huge.
mean, your stage was fantastic. I've been there twice now, and the stage is just so well done. It just looks so professional. Like Chris has a bunch of photos from his show last year, because he did the NPC, and it just looked amazing. I mean, every shot looked like it was almost like an Olympia shot,
Thank
and
you
Yeah.
so much.
The
And
yeah,
this
lighting,
year,
the light,
the
that's
lighting,
beautiful.
everything.
Everything is beautiful,
we
bro.
we go when other promoters ask me how much we spend on the production, they jaw drop because this is almost 3 times that whatever regular shows do. And but that's why we want to get that response. And this year we're going to an even bigger stage. It's gonna be twice the width. The
Wow.
screens are gonna be wider. It's gonna be a bigger bridge. and that's a way bigger stage. It's gonna look
Chris,
like
Chris, up your
Can't
cardio.
wait.
We gotta get you in Miami again.
he
Come on.
got 4 weeks.
Uh,
Start at the
4 weeks.
Originally, I'm 8 weeks out for a show, but I'm a little ahead of schedule as far as, my weight's been responding, everything good. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I'll leave that up to coach.
No, but yeah, no, we put a lot of emphasis on the production, making sure we went from regular banners to LED walls and make sure it looks really good for that purpose. We want the videos to look good for the athletes, we want the pictures to look good, and we just want everybody to have a good experience every year
I'm
when it
curious.
comes to
So
defense.
there were at Detroit, I believe, they had Gilco run the production, right?
Live
And
stream.
a lot of people were huge fans of the very simple curtain backdrop because it allowed the athletes to pop a little more with the lighting. And I guess they raised the backdrop so you couldn't see it in some of the photos. If you were there, you'd be able to see the sponsors. Um, I get why people are a fan of that, like just the black curtain backdrop. The only thing is that you do miss a bit of like the professionalism of the event. It almost looks like it's 1990 and you're in a high school cafeteria
Bigger, yeah.
competing, and it doesn't look as professional. And so I would also feel for an athlete that trained a year or two to go to a show and then it's just like a black curtain behind them. So they do need to figure out the lighting component because if the lighting is really good with a really cool backdrop, that's what makes it all work.
That's why we also don't have a full LED backdrop behind because it will be too busy.
Too
We
distracting.
Mhm.
Right.
we
Yeah.
we like to have that bridge that is the LED with the walls on the side, but we also have a backdrop that is pops out, but it blends in with the whole atmosphere.
How long did it take for you to find like the perfect setup? Because I imagine there's a lot that goes into that.
It has evolved. It has evolved from a very basic one little 3 foot wide banner going across to getting the really big ones going all the way to the back. Because there used to be that we used to just have a black drop, piping drape is called. It was just a black curtain. And after you go to different shows and you start seeing it, like no, we need to raise this up. And
Yeah,
Miami needs to also stand out. So
because it's
Does.
Miami,
it's
right?
Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
The
Which
Magic
is a good,
City.
which is a
Bring the
good
heat.
question. How have you seen the Miami fitness, uh, I guess, evolution change throughout the years? Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen it evolve from like this to,
Well, South Florida has blown up. I mean, Florida, Boca, West Palm. There's a lot of places that have blown up as well. But Miami itself and the fitness industry, there's a lot of people going to gyms in college that didn't do that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So it has really made a big difference. A lot more gyms popping up, a lot more people involved, more supplement companies, more influencers. It really has helped the whole industry overall. Um, the Miami, it's going to keep growing. There's people that are going to keep coming here, and it's a vacation destination. We had to move it to another location, and the only available date was Memorial Weekend. And we were scared at first, but the response they were getting from a lot of the people that are coming, they're excited because they're going to enjoy Memorial Weekend in Miami. And at first we were scared, like, oh, we don't want to compete or go do
but
it in a
it's
holiday.
Well,
smart. It gives people something to go to when they're down here. And
that
now, and now you have all these sports and all, so it's so engaging with just because bodybuilding's a niche, but now you're adding different niches and you're getting different fan bases
Right.
that may fall in love with, oh, what's bodybuilding? I never seen
Yeah,
this.
I
Let's
never
check
know
it
what
out.
that is. Yeah,
well,
exactly.
it's probably better to do the show on a holiday weekend because think about it. If you're a competitor and the show is the weekend after a holiday weekend, I mean, they're gonna have to be on prep throughout
That's
past
true. That's
through
true.
the event. Whereas this could be like if they have family or whatever, they could say, "Hey, come down. I'm gonna compete," and then we can go out and eat something.
That's a good way to
So
put
it's
it.
two ways to look at
It
it.
could be an
Yeah,
ending to the season.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because isn't I mean, Universe is July 4th weekend,
Yeah,
and
but
It's true.
it's also Chicago. I mean, not Chicago. Tennessee is
Yeah.
where they do a junior nationals now. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got Junior
Universe. Yeah.
USA, Junior USA first, then you got Junior Nationals, and then you got Universe,
Yeah.
and you got North Americans. And there's also a whole bunch of pro qualifiers going around. I think there's one in Mexico coming up also in 7 weeks. And
there's one in Ireland too. There's an
I see. So
Yeah, Ireland.
That's
Crazy.
wild.
Everywhere.
It was coming from everywhere. I remember when I first started in men's physique, it was only like 7 or 8 guys. Now it's 40 guys when you go up on stage. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Where
it's
did
crazy.
where did you compete
Biggest division.
internationally?
Philippines, uh, Puerto Rico, Colombia, and then in the U.S. I went a lot of places in the U.S. San Diego, New York, Pittsburgh. I've done Louisiana. I've done New Orleans, the show there. I've done a show in Georgia. I've competed in Vegas, uh, Chicago. Uh, yeah, I mean the league has been fun. Also, been to well, Europe was good too. Italy. Also, it's been a
How's that experience? Like
it's,
competing overseas?
that's great because I was literally doing what I love to do. When people say, "Oh, you're getting paid to do what you do," I was working out, and I had sponsors that would pay for my flights and hotels and trips. So I was really enjoying life. For 2015 and 16, that was the reason why I also was able to make it to Olympia. The help from my sponsors at that time really made a big difference.
Which sponsors were they? Shout them out.
Back then, well, Pro 10 has always been a sponsor of mine from the beginning, even before I was an amateur. But Divine, which they no longer exist. A lot of companies have like, started and disappeared in the past 15 years. Yeah. But back then it was Divine Nutrition, and it was a great company. Now I'm sponsored. I'm sponsored by the Desmond and Dover, the law firm. That's who sponsors me now. But it has nothing to do with the fitness industry. They just want me to promote in the fitness industry. So
It makes
That's
sense. I
awesome.
mean, it's something to add to the sponsorship, and that's good. That's dope.
yeah, and very good friend of mine too, Jeremy. So cool guys. So you guys need a lawyer, go to the Desmond and Dover.
They, oh, I mean, look, hey, use this to give shout out all your sponsors, shout out your show,
Yeah, we
everything.
got the Miami Pro, Miami Muscle Beach, May 24th. MiamiFitExpo.com is the website. Our Instagram is FitLife_productions. And any questions, man, contact me at Geobanny Paula at any time. And come to Miami. Miami Captain of Fitness Expo.
Your
May
social team does a
24th.
great social team does a great job with the Fit Life page. I remember, I mean, they'll repost stuff right away. They'll engage with
Immediately.
Yeah,
you right
very
away.
engaging.
They don't miss anything.
And we get blocked off. Sometimes we get stopped by Instagram. Okay, we got blocked off. We can't repost
Like you
anymore.
spamming too much or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're spamming.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're just popular.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool, man. But yeah, well, I wanna continue to have a platform for bodybuilding in Miami. I don't want to say if it wasn't for me, it wouldn't be there. But I'm Miami's first pro, and I wanted that to last forever, and I want to keep people inspiring people that no matter what you focus on, you stick your mind to, and you pray to God, and you keep grinding. It might take longer than what you have in mind, but it will happen. So just
Amen.
stay
I love
Bouncing
focused.
that.
bouncing back a little bit, but mentally, how especially with the injuries, um, what were you doing for your mental progress, not just your physical progress, but as you had those injuries? I know you mentioned you took a break, but what was it that you did? Was it, spending more time with family, or like what did you do to gain perspective in order to stay in a healthy mental place to make that bounce back, from 4 surgeries?
I did use the rehab time between each surgery, and I learned for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I learned a lot about shoulders. So that's another asset I have into my arsenal now. All of my clients when they have shoulder issues, I know how to stretch them. I know how to give them a massage. I know how to release them. And I didn't know any of that stuff before. I didn't even do warm up before. Now I warm up with bands. I teach all my clients all that things that I wouldn't want to do before, but now I understand the purpose of it. So that knowledge of the wanting to learn how to recuperate, how to make the shoulder stronger, and all the different parts and exercise that need to be done to strengthen it. That is what drove me. The drive to learn, so I could help somebody else when they go through it.
That's smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's what's the saying? It's rehab until it's prehab. Turn the
That's
same.
cool.
Because I used to play international lacrosse
Okay.
for the England national team, And I've had in college I had two knee surgeries, my ACL, blew my AC joint in my shoulder, tore my rotator cuff. So pretty much everything in my body has been torn, but fortunately my bones have not been broken, but all the joints have been damaged. So I just remember I had to really treat that rehab, like you said, very seriously. And then once I was better, I just kept it because
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great workout. And honestly, especially with shoulders being such an important part of men's physique, um, the beautiful thing about the shoulder is that you don't need to go heavy weight to really tax them to get them to grow. So a lot of the exercises you could do for benefit of muscle growth will actually strengthen as well. But were there particular exercises that you focused on or grips or angles that you would usually stick to? Um, like talk through some of the things that you tweaked in your programming.
Well, now if my workout's gonna be an hour and 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes or 25 minutes is all warm-up exercises. Learning protraction, retraction, rotator cuff, internal, external rotation, learning how to stretch properly, holding the right movements uh, to stretch on the right angle so it doesn't hurt your joint. I did a lot of research too on my own too because I went to different clinics and different therapy places so I could learn from different techniques. And also recovery, huge deal as far as competing. Any type of tool work, manual release, deep tissue, all that is part of competing as well. And I focus a lot of that. That helped me a lot. The recovery process, trying to learn what to do to heal faster was what drove me not to get down on myself. Because you can only go the other way, and you can go the other way really fast, really fast.
Could
You go
could
into a
could
black hole. Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's a tough play. And once you're in the black hole, it's tough to climb out of. But God, right?
yeah.
So, um, about I lost my thought.
Prep
For
brain.
body work, yeah, it's prep brain. For body work, what would you say now to, I guess, the audience about the importance of getting the massages, the cupping, the scraping, all that
It's
stuff?
yeah. I didn't know how important it was my first 10 years competing, but the second 10 years, trust me, it's made a huge difference from recovery to feeling the pump to getting your muscles to respond faster. All that comes from the recovery work. It's very important. As much as you want to pound your muscles and do your cardio and stairmaster and all this spinning and biking and running, you need to replenish the cells and give it new life by massaging it, lymphatic drainage, and also deep tissue scraping, cupping. All that stuff is really, really good. I do also cold plunges and then infrared hot sauna. Very good. Getting sunlight, 20, 30 minutes in the sun. Some of the basic things that people will need forever, they're crucial when it comes to prep. So at least once a week, you got to get recovery done if you're working out on a 6 day, 7 day week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Once again,
definitely.
your 30s. It just your body is not the
You
same.
have to, yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
ironic because in even though like I'm not in my lacrosse prime anymore, I'm not running around hitting people anymore. But muscular wise, you're in your prime and your muscular I guess the quality of your muscle really matures in your mid 30s. So it's like you're beaten up and injured, but your muscles are actually looking great. So you just have to make sure you're doing the work to show
They
them.
keep working.
Yeah, yeah,
They keep working.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing I would change is learning warm up stuff. People would think, oh, that's so boring. I don't want to do that. I warm up with the bench. Get cables,
Mobility.
get mobility, stretch. Learn how to do that. 10, 15 minutes at least to get blood flow. By the time you get to the actual muscle, you already have a pump. And that's when
Yeah.
you know you can work out. I used to do 5 working sets. Now I do 2 working sets because I'm already pumped from the pre-exhaustion that I do before. So things like that help a lot too. And also joint longevity. Our muscles need to continue to be pumped, but our joints can't continue to be rubbed so much. So that's why tendonitis kicks in the elbows and the shoulders. It hurts a lot. But we have to do things what I call the time under tension and slow and control the negatives. Things that could really help the muscle fibers to engage, but not hurt the joints, which is what we need to preserve for the long term.
Tax it without overloading.
Yes. You don't have to go to failure every set. You're gonna end up failing. Your joints are gonna fail. You're gonna have side effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's what I love about exercising itself. It's so many dynamics and G has taught me a lot about like, movement. My girlfriend Nicole, she's really big on because she's trying to be a physical therapist. She's really big on like stretching and all the stuff that I didn't do in my 20s. Now I'm doing it in my
So
30s.
important, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's crucial right now for us. I stretch all the time, even if I'm not doing anything. I'll get up in the morning, have a 10-minute stretch session after get out of the hot shower.
Yeah.
That's what gets your day going, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
You ever do
Yeah.
yoga?
Yeah. And the hot yoga too.
Hot yoga?
Yeah.
I've done that
Really
once.
opens
It's
up your
so
lungs.
difficult.
Yeah. It's your mind. Your mind.
Challenging. Yeah.
You're not gonna die from it. If not, they wouldn't
No.
do those classes.
Yeah.
I remember the instructor told me to go into the child's pose. I think I was struggling too much. I don't.
Just sit right there. Just sit right.
Well, I like an idiot. I forgot to bring water. I forgot to bring water.
Right.
I was like, everyone else has a Nalgene or a full gallon, and I didn't even bring water. I'm like,
You're out. You're out for the first 10 minutes. No, but yeah, no, actually, yeah, yoga is very good. Very good for the mind. Yeah, it's very calming because you want to. Number one thing that I've learned is breathing. Your breathing makes everything. It makes your thoughts clear. It makes you focus better. It makes you respond with a better attitude. Your breathing is what calms anxiety. Your breathing is what helps you sleep. Breathing is everything. I've learned how to listen to my breath, count my breaths, breathe out slow, and that helped me a lot. Having a sling 3 months at a time and not be able to run or jump or do anything. So breathing has been a great new learning journey that I would like more people to understand about learning how to breathe.
Did that translate to your workouts? Because a lot of people they end up holding their breath when they're working out. And
right, but so that I've learned too. I've had different coaches too that have taught me, and you always the best technique that I've found is breathing out when you need the boost. So imagine if you're driving a car and you want to throw the nitrous boost right when you need it, and you're already gassing it. Well, you don't want to breathe out before you extend. You want to breathe out when you need it. So you say you push it, you're not struggling yet? Don't breathe out. Now you're struggling, now breathe out and finish the movement. So that's another thing that I've learned when it comes to exercising, using the breathing and the oxygen and the right timing. Combined with nutrient timing. Carbohydrates before and after work are a must. And that's essential. Breathing and nutrient timing, I think, are the most important thing.
I'm sure on show day at Miami, there's a few times you forget to breathe though, and you're like, "Oh no, I need to go get my breaths in."
Yeah, it happens, and it happens. Last year, the AC didn't work for 3 hours in the morning. Man, I was hot.
Oh shit!
Yeah, right.
I didn't even feel that, to be honest.
I'm good.
But I imagine you because you
I'm
probably have
walking all over
10,000
place
people
with a
calling you.
suit
Chris.
on,
Chris, you had like what 5% body fat? Of course you didn't feel it.
Yeah,
I was sweating all weekend.
Come on.
You're already dry. You had no water.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have nothing in there.
I'm glad I didn't experience that. I hate being hot, but I imagine it's hard, getting pulled in all different directions that day. So breathing is something you do to
really help me not respond in an improper or unprofessional way.
Yes,
that's the best way to say it. Imagine the first time the person's ever seen you. Oh, that guy's so rude. I'm never coming to this show again. Damn.
Yeah.
Why did I respond like that? So I can't even. Sometimes I have to, when I go to gyms and stuff, I want to say I have to put a switch on, but I can't. I can't just completely be open about everything. I always have to be diplomatic in a certain way, unfortunately.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
Brand.
You have a reputation and you're a promoter, you influence people. You have to set a standard for yourself and everybody else around you. So
I'm representing the league as well.
Exactly.
I'm representative of the league. I'm waving their flag, so I want to make sure it stands right. It's not tarnished. And anything that anybody could suggest or we could make better, we are always open to hearing anybody's suggestions. It might take a little longer to come to fruition, but we're always open. Like I said, this new fitness model division for women is amazing. It is really good. There's so many girls that literally could do an 8 week prep and they could compete. And they don't have to take anything. They could be healthy. They could still, not have their emotional downfalls. And I think it's going to be a great thing, really. So.
Yeah, it's big for the sport, but I imagine it's even bigger for promoters and the show runners and all that stuff. Um, how have you seen adding on a new category? Does it make your job harder or
No, it just increased cost.
Yeah.
But it evens out. You got to buy more medals. You got to buy more, plates, basic stuff.
But more registration money though.
But that's why it balances out.
Yeah.
You give and takes. But as long as
Miami's having fit model.
we have all. We even added armed forces and hero categories. So armed forces is anybody that's in any type of military, and then heroes
Oh
is
wow.
any type of firefighter, paramedic, or police officer.
That's really cool.
Oh,
That's really
awesome.
cool.
Especially for Memorial Weekend, so we added that.
that makes
That,
sense? Oh,
that's a
damn,
great
damn
idea.
G. Damn
So
G.
only
Active duty.
people in the service, active
Yeah.
duty can compete
Oh, active
Yeah.
duty.
in
Okay.
that category.
Yeah.
What about
Okay,
retired police
interesting.
officers?
I asked the league. I just got that question 2 weeks ago. If a retired military from the Navy could compete and they said no, only active duty. So that's
Okay.
what they want.
Maybe eventually.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's some
Damn.
shows. I believe there's some shows that they call them military shows, and they really have like all the categories.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it would just be you would just select whichever service they are in and then the division and that would be it.
Yeah, they have their ID, the military ID, and they
Yeah.
can compete in that division. But there's not going to be classes. It's just going to be one class of that class.
Nice.
Okay. That's
So
awesome.
like, that's not going to be like three hike, A, B, C, D military.
Yeah, it'll be like overall basically,
Right,
just
right.
like everybody going.
It's the first year, and we might not even get any. You know what I'm saying? So right, only have a
I might bring you one or two or three.
But
Hey, man.
it's interesting though
There's
because
some
now it
people
gives
that
them a
there's
platform.
literally people that want to
Yeah.
collect medals. Oh, they're doing a show. I just want to get a medal. All right.
Yeah. And if you're already in shape, you know what I mean? Like go take the free photos too, you know what I'm saying? Get the exposure. You might as well. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, there's more choices, more opportunity for people. You want to get
It's awesome.
more choices for everybody. And you guys, I was going to ask, when did you guys start? When did you guys start doing this podcast? How old did you guys been running?
So this is, I believe, our 10th episode now.
Second month? Is it
Okay.
second month or
It's fairly
we just
new.
started like we just started pretty
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
recently. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome,
Yeah,
man. This is
we
good.
we were talking about it for a little while, and then we decided let's just do it. We don't need to know everything right away. Let's fail early. Let's learn quickly.
But it's good.
Yeah, I mean, our main goal really is twofold. One, focus on mental health and positivity in the sport, and then two, give a platform not just to like an Olympian pro, but to people that have been grinding, doing it the right way, but they don't have a platform to share their story yet. So, we've had a handful of pros on like yourself, but we've also had amateurs that are trying to build their brand and they've never been able to share their story. And we really want to give value to the people watching.
Good. I like that. Yeah, I mean, down here in South Florida, there's nobody really doing anything like that, so it really helps out too. So
I think there's this unfortunate connotation that you have to be an Olympian to like do anything with this sport. I think it's like you have three amateurs running a podcast, but at the same time, it's all about the community, learning, sharing. Everyone has something to offer and something to share and teach. So we're just trying to open up those forms of dialogue, really, those channels of dialogue. We would love to support you and local events more. We haven't really figured out how we can be helpful yet, but obviously eventually
this
we
is
hope
a great
to,
way.
yeah, we hope to eventually also get sponsors so we can
This is the
help
start.
do more
Yeah.
of the show. Yeah, exactly.
Good, man. Good. It's really good for the community, especially for the younger generation that needs more people to motivate them. So this is very good.
Exactly.
Very
Yeah.
happy with this.
Appreciate you coming on too, Gio.
Of course,
Yeah.
man.
Gio,
Awesome.
we what before we let you go, like what are some future plans for the show? Did you have any like big aspirations for Miami, or are you living more in the moment and you're just letting it kind of come to you as you go?
I wanna make it grow into a 2 day show. and then have all 9 professional categories.
Nice. Just go big, go big or go home.
But then also having a pro qualifying aspect to it.
That would also be really cool. You got to do it all, and you're in a good market, and you're in a good market for it. So
since I can't add another show yet, I'm gonna make this show as big as I can.
That's how you get recognition, right? That's how you
As
get
it is this year. I mean, the way that it runs, the pro prejudging runs straight into the pro final, so there's no real break between prejudging and final. For the amateurs, yes, you guys, the amateurs get a break about 4 hours, but there's really a show that runs all the way through. In other words, there's something on stage going on all the time, which is not, yeah.
Gio, we really appreciate you coming on, man. We know you're busy. We know the show's coming up. We would love to have you back on in the future.
Definitely.
To hear about this growth, follow the growth of the show and yourself if you ever come back as a Masters athlete. Let's grab a pick for the pod real quick.
Yeah, man.
This is cool.
There we go. But yeah, we'll definitely see you at the show for sure. And we would love to stay in contact with you, and maybe we can do something with you later on with the pod, and continue to help get whatever you want out of the show out there to the masses, and we'll try to help out.
Yeah, maybe we could even do some interviews also.
Yeah.
At the expo.
Do you have anyone interviewing?
Mics.
Do you have anyone interviewing at the?
Well, we don't have. The only person that's doing the interviews, interviewing the pro and the overall for them NPC, JM himself, JM Manning, right, doing the NPC coverage. But
even to get like people that don't win, just to give them a platform to speak.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get the amateurs and everybody.
Yeah. Well, Gio, what we'll do is we'll get a group chat going, and maybe we'll come down to Miami. We can spitball and brainstorm with you in person.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's do that. We should
all right, guys.
Contact each other.
Absolutely.
Thank you much for having me, man.
All right, brother.
It's an honor.
Blessings,
thank you, brother.
Man. Be safe, bro.
Take it easy.
Thanks, man.
Got it.